coup has occurred.
All right, D. McClung, Art for Monologues.
Hi, this is BrasscheckTV, and we just came across a really important article that explains a lot about what's going on and is a bit disturbing as it has to do with the future of our young people.
I'm gonna share this with you. It's from BrasscheckTV, and as the man says, he's talking about a report apparently from johnrappaport.wordpress.com. So I'm giving credit where it's due, and just listen to a couple of minutes of this show.
This appeared on John Rappaport's blog. The web address for his blog is johnrappaport.wordpress.com. Many of you already know him. I'll just spell out his name for you. John, Jon, no H, Jon, Rappaport, Rapport, johnrappaport.wordpress.com. This is his blog, and his article is entitled "The Number One Mind Control Program at U.S. Colleges." If you are a college student, or have a child at college, or care about people of that generation, read this. The unspoken secret in plain sight. And I'm going to read a little bit of it just to give you the taste of what this is about, and I think you're going to want to go and read it in detail yourself. Hidden in plain sight. You notice how crazy college universities and campuses are getting to be? Everybody suddenly got some kind of a mental disease, and they all need some kind of special care and special treatment. Well, that's not an accident, and it's actually much bigger and more serious than those of us on the outside really realize. So here we go. Here is a staggering statistic from the National Alliance on Mental Illness. You ready, everybody? More than 25% of college students have been diagnosed or treated by a professional for a mental health condition within the past year. Let that sink in. 25%. Colleges, and I'm changing John's words a little bit here, can't help being an editor. Colleges have become clinics, psychiatric centers. Colleges have been taken over. A soft coup has occurred out of you. You want to know where all this victim-oriented, quote, I am triggered, and, quote, I need a safe space comes from? You just found it. It's a short step from being diagnosed with a mental disorder to adopting the role of being super sensitive to, quote, triggers. You could call it a self-fulfilling prophecy. Quote, if I have a mental disorder, then I'm a victim. And then what people say and do around me is going to disturb me, and I'll prove it. End of quote. You probably, and I'm adding some stuff here right now, you've probably seen some of these videos where kids are just, some kids are just off the wall. You can't even begin to figure out where they're coming from. Now we understand. The dangerous and destabilizing effect of psychiatric drugs confirm this attitude. The drugs do, in fact, produce an exaggerated and distorted sensitivity to a person's environment. You want to know where a certain amount of violent, aggressive behavior on campuses comes from? You just found it. The psychiatric drugs, in particular antidepressants and speed-type medications for ADHD. You want to know why so many college students can't focus on their studies, and I would add their lives? You just found one reason: the brain effects of these drugs. The usual variety of student problems are translated into pseudo-scientific categories of, quote, mental disorders, and toxic drugging ensues. A college student says to himself, and anybody that's been young or is alive may have these problems too, I'm having trouble with my courses. I don't understand what my professors want. My reading level isn't good enough. I don't like the professors who have a political bias. I'm confused. I miss my friends back home. I feel like a stranger on campus. I'd like to date, but I don't know where to start. There are groups on campus. Should I join one? Well, maybe I need help. I should go to the counseling center and talk to a psychologist. That's what they're there for. Maybe I have a problem that I don't know about. And so it begins. The student is looking for an explanation of his problems, but this search will morph into colon, having a socially acceptable excuse for not doing well. Understand the distinction. After a bit of counseling, the student is referred to a psychiatrist who makes a diagnosis of depression. Or it could be social anxiety or any one of the million things these guys cook up, and prescribes a drug. Now the student says, oh, that's a relief. Now I know I have a problem. I have a mental disorder. I never knew that. I'm operating at disadvantage. I'm a victim of a brain abnormality. Okay, that means I really shouldn't be expected to succeed. Situations affect my mood. What people say affects my mood. And pretty soon the whole idea of being triggered and needing a safe space makes sense to the student. He's heading down a slippery slope, but he doesn't grasp what's actually going on. On top of that, the drug he's taking is disrupting his thoughts and his brain activity. But of course, the psychiatrist tells him, no, it's not the drugs, it's the condition, the clinical depression or whatever, which is worsening and making it harder to think clearly. He needs a different drug or more drugs. The student is now firmly in the system. He's a patient. He's expected to have trouble coping, and on it goes. Now that I'm getting to be a slightly older person, I look with a lot more sympathy at people in their late teens, or actually at any age, really, but it's not an easy age. You got to figure out everything. 10 years ago you were a kid, and now all of a sudden you're supposed to figure out your career, what your domestic situation is going to be, and 1,000 other things that you have not been prepared for. And whose fault is that? Is it a 19-year-old's fault that nobody ever sat him down and explained the facts of life to him or her? Yeah, they can be annoying. Yeah, they can be arrogant. But, I think if we looked into our past, we'd find a lot of that too. But now, the problems of life are suddenly mental conditions. And they're treated with psychobabble, and most horribly of all, they're treated with psychiatric medications. Now, I remember way back in the 70s seeing a medical magazine. It was for doctors. And the cover said, basically the cover question was, is it ethical to prescribe psychiatric medications to seriously disturbed people? And the question is it a cheat? Is it just nothing more than a medical straitjacket to make the lives of doctors easier? And that was the ethical debate in the 1970s. Now, these same drugs are being given out willy-nilly to kids who may be shy, who may have difficulty socially, who may have difficulty focusing, things that we all have when we're young. It's part and parcel of growing up. It's a terrible thing. So I hope everybody goes to johnrappaport.wordpress.com and reads this article in depth, the #1 mind control program at U.S. colleges. And also write John and tell him that you really are grateful for his clear thinking and for articulating this. I wasn't really aware of it. It's one of those things hidden in plain sight. You see that you get all these weird things coming out of college students' mouths. You don't know where they're coming from. Now we know.
That was from BrasscheckTV.com, and was talking about the article by John Rappaport. All right, you've got it, and now you know something. It's kind of scary, isn't it? Think about that. I don't know about you, but I think this is scary. I mean, really scary. The part that bothers me, one of the things that bothers me, is the fact, and I've got the jet engines going, getting ready to go, fly. It's a little cool in here yet this morning. Hopefully it'll go off, and we won't have the engines in the background. Give me a figure. Oh, he's doing his radio show from an airplane. Nope, it's just a heater. Kind of taking the nip out of the air. It's going to be another nice day in the 60s, so it shouldn't be necessary for much longer today. All right, this scary thing, this 25%, that's a lot. Now, let's correlate that with some another study that was done. One study was done some time ago. Imagine it's still relevant today. 71% of the people in America, this is from a survey, 71% of the people in America actually believe that the devil is real. 71% actually believe the devil really exists. And I'm not talking about just like, as a metaphor for evil or as some sort of symbolic figure or character in a in the mythological nonsense that goes around as religion these days. I'm talking they think the devil is real, like you could actually talk to him or touch him or see him. A real entity. Now, I've been around quite a while, almost 7 decades. I've never really heard anybody say, yeah, I had a conversation with Satan last night. He was sitting in a chair across from me. I was sitting in a chair across from him, and we sat there and had a long conversation. And he was like constantly trying to get me to, be a bad guy and come to the dark side and shit. I'm not saying that has never happened, but I've never heard of it. I mean, I'm assuming that anybody that would say such a thing is in a mental institution right now. And probably would say that as a result of being in a mental institution, sitting in the counselor's or a psychiatrist's office, talking to a psychiatrist saying, yeah, I've been talking to the devil. I mean, think about that. 71% of Americans are fucking Looney Tunes. Whoops. You should have expected that. You should have expected that. You should have expected that reaction. In fact, I kind of almost expect you to have the same reaction. Maybe you're one of the 71%. Whoa. 71%. 70% of Americans are fucking insane. 71%. So if we were going to go by this John Rappaport article, where 25% of American college students have been diagnosed as having some sort of mental illness or some degree of insanity, I guess the survey that they conducted to determine this 25%, well, maybe all they had to do was just, check the records of the universities and colleges and find that, so many people visited the psychologist or psychiatrist at this college, or off campus perhaps, and determined that, yeah, there was 5,000 people at WVU actually saw a psychologist this year. School psychologist. Well, let's just take WVU, West Virginia University, which I'm familiar with. My partner works there. She is involved in the university. She's not a professor. She's not an administrator. She's an administrator in a certain aspect of the university, research. In this case, research compliance. But let's say it's 25,000 students at WVU University, and 25% of them would be well over 5,000, right? 6,000 and so. Of those students have been diagnosed with a mental disorder, insanity. And yet, if you compare the overall study of Americans overall, 25%. So apparently the study that was conducted in regards to the 25% would be about a third of the people that overall in America are mentally ill, that believe the devil exists. In the physical realm, I'm thinking, like, what the fuck? 71% of Americans? You have any idea how many? That's over 200 million Americans are like fucking insane. I suppose there are even more people in America who believe that God is real. You're like, oh yeah, I talk to God. God talks to me. I hear God's voice in my head. Ooh, I think that's a clue. You're hearing voices, are you? You probably should be seeing a psychologist or psychiatrist because, you're fucking you're nuts. Okay, to be fair, I hear voices in my head too. My voice. Like I can right now. I can hear my voice as I'm speaking to you right now. I can hear that in my ears, which goes into my head. Sort of a feedback. My voice makes a noise, makes a sound. I say words. Those words, go out in waves and come back and cycle into my ear, back into my brain, and I hear myself talking. I don't believe I've ever heard God talking. Really. Because that would be weird, wouldn't it? Since ain't none. Yeah, I know, you're saying, yeah, it's just your opinion. Yeah, I've even had people say things to me like, you'll find out when you die, man. Like, probably not, since I'll be dead. So 71% actual mentally ill people in a country, over 200 million Americans. That's a lot of people to live in. I'm living in the middle of these people. Like around me, there are thousands of people, millions of people, counting the whole country. I live in a country where 2/3 of the people are insane. So I think this 25% is somewhat low. But, of course, the point in his article in the BrasscheckTV piece there was that they've been diagnosed by the school psychologist? So anyway, I guess the person doing the research for this study, didn't ask them if they were Christians. Because that would increase the number by about 4 times. But I guess they don't consider being a believer in mythological nonsense as a mental illness, therefore no need to treat them with drugs. I'm wondering why they missed that. I mean, that would have been a pretty good excuse for these Nazi fascist pig bastard motherfuckers, to get us brain damaged and feed us full of drugs, chemicals that alter our brain and make us stupid. Speaking of drugs that make us stupid, fluoride in the water, and it's there, and it's like all over the country. There might be a couple of places in America that doesn't put fluoride poison in their drinking water of the citizens, but overall, America, fluoride, yeah. So it's like a lot of people, more than 200 million people, are drinking fluoridated water. Poison! It'll cause brain damage, particularly in kids. And we know it. I mean, how can you not know that? Hell, if you've ever heard me or seen anything I posted on the internet anywhere, I mean, you're aware of the fact that fluoride is not a good thing for you to put in your body. I'd equate that to like double doses of lead poisoning. And yet we don't want lead in our drinking water, do we? Like Flint, Michigan. I feel really bad for those people. I mean, all the people that live in Flint, Michigan that got lead water in their tap and drank it and shit. I would think every one of them would be suing somebody's ass big time. I get lead poisoning. Whoever caused that to happen is going to pay big time. And I don't mean just money. I mean they're going to suffer serious consequences for fucking poisoning me. It's quite possible that there's lead in a lot of things that I consume right here in north central West Virginia. Things I don't know about. I don't suppose people in Flint, Michigan knew there was lead in their drinking water. But, well, gee. I think we'd have to call them innocent victims of a crime against humanity. Oh yeah, those responsible should be held accountable, and held accountable with their life. Because this damage may not be reversible. If you've had a kid that's been drinking water with lead in it for like 5 years, chalk that kid off. He's not going to make it to college. May not even live that long. And yet people are like, oh yeah, it's terrible. And then, bimbo. It's there. From the last report I got, they haven't really taken the lead out of the drinking water in freaking Flint, Michigan yet. What the hell? Are these people insane? Are they part of the 71%? Or the 25%? Or the 98%? It just boggles my mind. But let me think. You put lead in my water, accidentally or otherwise, you let it be in there, you didn't do anything to stop it. You have had to have known about it because you're supposed to test the damn water every so often, like every week or whatever. So you're going to tell me that the people that are operating the water system in Flint, Michigan didn't know there was lead in the water? At high concentrates? I find it hard to believe. Oh, they just did the test of the water, but they just missed that. Yeah, right. For how long? How many years? Now I'm going to tell you, here's my policy. And I don't act out this policy, myself. I don't enforce it or whatever because I'm just a guy. Well, actually, I'm quite a guy, an exceptional man. But I'm not involved in, activism to the point of I'm not going to do anything like march or even carry out a civil war against these bastards. It may come to that. It may come to the point where we are armed rebellion, folks. Where we are armed and we are doing a rebellion against these Nazi, fascist, police state fucking motherfuckers. I mean, seriously. Because the only way you can get rid of a tyrant and a bully is to kill them. Or at least put them in the dungeon. Translate that, mental institution for the criminally insane. For life, because there's no cure. And yet they're giving a lot of adults going to college. Yes, adults going to college. Because if you're in college, you're about that age bracket that's like over a child. You're like an adult. And you're entitled to the same. Well, anyway. The point is, they're doing it, you know they're doing it, and you're not doing anything to stop it. Now, see, I've got to go to the dentist. Got a little tooth thing to deal with, and it's, not major at this point. And the last time I was there, well, it was the first time I went to this dentist, new dentist. I went there, had my teeth cleaned, and had some fillings done. And I hope they're not putting mercury in my fillings like they used to. One of the deadliest poisons known to man. At any rate, you go to the dentist, and it's just sort of traditional, I think. They give you a toothbrush and a tube of toothpaste and some floss. And I noticed when I left the dentist office after I had my fillings done, they gave me the toothbrush and the floss, but they didn't give me any toothpaste. Do you think because I told them when I went in, don't even start with the fluoride shit, because that's just wrong. And the dentists are like promoting this fluoride thing and saying, brush your teeth with a good fluoride paste. Excuse me? You're promoting people being poisoned, you fucking idiot. And the dentist, and I mentioned it to the dentist in a polite way. I didn't say it the way I just said it. But I said, no, I'm not doing that poison thing. Not doing the fluoride in the toothpaste. And I'm not going to do the fluoride treatment that they offer, which is another thing. Oh, really? You're going to coat my teeth with fluoride in order to preserve my teeth and cause brain damage? What? So anyway, I give them the spiel. And they acted like they'd never heard this before, ever. Like, oh, you're putting us on. No, seriously. Fluoride. They used that in the Nazi freaking prison camps, to keep the Jews and other prisoners docile and compliant. And, you think that's not going on in America today in the high schools, for example? And apparently in colleges. And the general population being treated with a chemical called fluoride, which is like a waste product from nuclear power plants or something. I mean, why would you just let that continue? Let me give you a scenario where to illustrate this. You live in your house, you're doing your business, going about your job, going to school, whatever you're doing. If you're a school kid, like high school, whatever, and you just go to school and doing homework, coming home, doing your text messages, doing some selfies, maybe sending some titty shots to your boyfriend, whatever, which is a felony. Duh. Oh, for Christ's sake. Except in, California? It's not a crime, by the way. And so you're drinking your fluoride water, and you get your fluoride toothpaste, and every morning you give yourself a dose of that. And every night before you go to bed, let's dose me with some fluoride in my toothpaste. Says right on the damn tube. If you ingest this toothpaste product, call the poison hotline immediately. Oh, isn't that a clue? If you eat toothpaste with fluoride in it, call the poison hotline. because you've just poisoned yourself. Alright, I was going to give you a scenario. You're in your house, you're doing your thing, you know, your normal routine, whatever it may be, and you know, your neighbor keeps coming by your house and shooting a gun at your fucking house. You know, bullets are going through the walls and through the windows. Your windows are crashing. Bam, crash, bam, bam, bam. Bullets hitting your house, going through your windows, hitting the walls, hitting your refrigerator, shit. Coming whizzing past your head as you're sitting on your computer or sitting on a chair with your freaking cell phone doing text messages or sending selfies to your boyfriend with showing your boobs and shit. And, you know, bullets are flying. Bam, 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 bam. And you're just sitting there going about your business, like listening to me right now on your freaking cell phone or whatever. And you're like, oh, I don't hear any bullets. I don't hear anything. Bang, bang, bang. I don't hear that. I don't see the windows breaking and the bullets flying past my head and landing in my freaking walls of my house. And, oh, there goes my dog. Just got shot by a bullet. And he was sitting on the, the couch next to me here. Or you, because I don't have a couch. And you're like, well, I'll just continue texting and watching TV or whatever the fuck you're doing. And like totally disregard and ignore the fact that people are shooting guns at you in your house and bullets are flying around your house and in your house and through your windows and through the walls and crashing things and breaking things. I'm sure you've seen movies where somebody like standing outside a house or outside the door and he's just machine gunning a house like crazy, bullets flying everywhere, breaking lamps and things and pictures and shredding the freaking wallpaper and the curtains and shit. And you know, seriously, and you just like, I'll just keep on taking my little, I'll just keep on living in my coma. What the fuck? Yeah, that's what it's like. You know that they're doing it, and you're just going to keep right on living because no bullets have hit me yet. Probably won't. Well, probably won't. What? I don't think so. So what I'm saying to you is, yeah, exactly. There's something wrong with you. You're like in a fucking coma or something. You got your head so far up your ass that you think your colon is your brain. Boggles the mind. And no. Yeah. That's what it's like. Bullets flying through your walls, in your house, through your windows, and shooting and breaking things, including, bullets, whizzing by your head and, grazing your brain, it's like, phew, flesh wound, that's okay, no big deal. I'm not going to even pay attention to the fact that, phew, I got a bullet just went right past my head and, took a nick out of my ear, and, I'm bleeding profusely all over myself. I'll just keep right on doing what I'm doing, watching TV, texting my boyfriend, sending nudie pictures to my friends, whatever. Not going to do anything about that. You're insane. Seriously. You're fucking insane. And fluoride is just one of those cases. Flint, Michigan is just one case. How many more cases of that are there? In the case of fluoride in your drinking water, that's like poisoning all over the freaking country. And anybody doing anything about that? Nope. Why isn't everybody in this country going down to the freaking water department or whatever and say, hey, fucking don't do that anymore, or else, we're gonna take you out of here, put you on a freaking tar and feather you, put you on a rail and dump you in the river. Period. Case closed. You're not gonna do it anymore. Not gonna happen. You're poisoning my people, my children. Not going to happen anymore. You're just not going to do it. You're just not. I mean, if you keep doing it, and we're going to drag you out of here, and you're fired, and you're going to dump you in a river. And if that does, if you don't do it, if you don't stop at that point, I mean, come on, dump them in the river. It's going to be a pretty good deterrent, I would think. No, I'm just going to crawl out of the river, go back down to the water department where I work, and keep putting fluoride in the water. Even though they've dumped me in the river once, what are they going to do to me now? Oh, what next could they do? I don't know. Shoot your fucking ass. I'm not advocating violence. I'm just speculating that it could be the next step if you don't stop poisoning us. You bastards. Seriously. What's wrong with you people? I know. The fluoride is working. You're docile, compliant fools. So I guess the fluoride treatment's working. And if you're the parent of a college-age person and they're going to college and they're being diagnosed like one of the 25% of the students, and you're a parent of one of those students, what? You're going to not go, oh, my son, please don't let them do that to you. Don't let them give you freaking drugs, because there's nothing wrong with you. You're just a normal kid that had normal problems, and you just need to fucking grow up and act like a grown-up. If 25% of the college students in this country are mentally ill, like insane, then think about it. That's just fucking scary. How did they get that way? Yeah, I know. So anyway, just come on, people, grow up. Grow a brain, and then grow a pair of balls. And do something. Do something. In this Nazi, fascist, police state, murdering, terrorist organization. Stop it. Make them stop. Make them stop. You can use self-defense mechanisms here. They are trying to kill you. You can defend yourself. Seriously, it's the law of nature. And actually, it's the law in this country, period. You have the right to defend yourself. And they're poisoning you, so you have the right to stop them from poisoning you. You do have that right. It's a natural and human right, and you can't that right cannot be taken away from you. But then again, look at yourself. You're brainwashed, indoctrinated, conditioned, manipulated, duped. You've been turned into a babbling fool. Not me. I'm not stupid. But what have I done lately to stop fluoride from being put in the water? Have I gone to my city department? I'm not going by myself. They will shoot me. Imagine that. Me. I go down to the city building in Worthington, and I say, I'll talk to the guy in charge of the water. And he said, it's me, the mayor. Okay, Mr. Mayor, they're putting fluoride in the water. It's poison, and it's against law. I mean, it's against everything. It's sane. It's totally fucking insane. Stop doing it. Tell the people at the water department to stop doing that. And he would, I don't know. The mayor of Worthington used to be like I think it's a woman now. I'm not sure. But I don't live in Worthington. I live near Worthington. And so, but I get the water from them. Used to have spring water. Beautiful, sweet, beautiful, clean spring water. Until those fracking bastards did all their well drilling around here and ruined my spring. Did I do anything about that? Yeah, I got city water, which was available at that point. Probably a mistake on my part. Probably should have sued those people for ruining my spring. Oh well. I didn't do anything about that either. There are a lot of things I didn't do anything about. Because, one man, I'm vulnerable to being shot by these cocksucking terrorists. So I don't blame you if you're not going to go down by yourself. Come on. Talk to your friends, your neighbors, your family. Get together. Like Worthington. There should be like 300 or 400 people down in the city building in Worthington saying, hey, stop it. Don't do that anymore. Or else, tomorrow, you better not be in there. And mean it, because you have the right to defend yourself, and you have the right to stand up for what's right. You have the right to exercise freedom and your rights. Your rights are words. I like it in the word right and freedom. I use the word freedom. You have freedoms, natural, inalienable, human freedoms. One of them is to protect yourself from being poisoned by the fucking water department. It's not a medication. You're not, for one thing, the government is not allowed to medicate people in mass. That's just stupid. No, not allowed. So if it's medicine, no, you can't do it. You can't medicate people without their permission, and you can't do it without their knowledge. You just can't. It's against the law. Certainly against the principles of freedom. And you're lying to them. You're saying, it'll protect your teeth from cavities. Look at my mouth. See what you think. Didn't protect my teeth. And except for that short period of time when I actually drank water from the spring, which didn't have fluoride in it, I guess, since it's not naturally occurring in my spring. Still got it, because, I was probably using a fluoride toothpaste at the time. Don't do that now. Baking soda, a little dash of peroxide now and then, kill the germs, the bad germs. Too late. Got cavities. All right, I gotta go. Time's up. So, catch you later. And do something, for Christ's sake. Don't be such a pussy. And if you're insane, kind of watch it. Be careful, because, Enough said on that. Catch you later.